Welcome to the Indian Peaks Wilderness Alliance annual online training. I'm Emily Harrington, and today, along with Kelly Prendergast, we want to thank you for participating. Congratulations to the new volunteers who've been selected to patrol this summer season. We're so glad you decided to join us, and we hope you're looking forward to it. And a large thank you to all of our returning volunteers for your continued dedication to our mission and to our wilderness areas. The following presentation is an overview of IPWA's mission, history, and our programs. So let's get started.
While our name is the Indian Peaks Wilderness Alliance, or IPWA, we actually support two wilderness areas, the Indian Peaks Wilderness and the James Peak Wilderness. Our mission is to assist the U.S. Forest Service Boulder Ranger District in preserving and protecting these areas from overuse and misuse. We do this through educational outreach, trail maintenance, and other activities you'll hear about in this presentation. Because these two wilderness areas are close to Denver and other cities on the Front Range, they receive a large volume of visitors. In fact, the Indian Peaks Wilderness is among the top 5 most heavily visited wilderness areas in the country. IPWA's history goes back several decades. In October of 1978, the Indian Peaks Wilderness was designated by Congress as part of the Wilderness Preservation System. With its new designation, it started to receive more and more visitation and impacts. So in 1980, a citizens working group was organized by 3 pioneering women, Dr. Ann Forrest Ketchen, Jan Robertson, and Ann Vickery. Over several years, this group produced a set of 27 points for preserving and protecting the Indian Peaks. And in 1985, the Indian Peaks Working Group was officially incorporated. The U.S. Forest Service agreed to most of the group's recommendations and thus began a citizen-agency partnership, which still endures today.
Today, IPWA and its partnership with the Boulder Ranger District is still going strong with over 130 volunteers dedicated to all facets of preserving the wilderness. IPWA is a nonprofit 5013C that is 100% volunteer staffed and operated.
The IPWA has a board of directors that provides direction and oversight for the organization from year to year. The board holds elections annually to elect officers and new board members. On this slide, you can see IPWA's current board members.
In addition, there are other key committees and personnel that manage the day-to-day operations of IPWA. Here's a list of some activities that are an important part of the organization. If you expressed interest in activities outside of patrolling during your registration, a volunteer will be reaching out to you soon to discuss your interest. Now, Kelly is going to talk about our main partner in preserving and protecting the wilderness, the United States Forest Service Boulder Ranger District.
IPWA and the Boulder Ranger District work together under a joint Memorandum of Understanding. This memorandum allows IPWA to provide a volunteer presence in the Indian Peaks and James Peak wilderness areas where we can promote responsible visitor use and preservation on behalf of the Forest Service. In addition, each year, IPWA and the Forest Service conduct joint volunteer training and plan and execute joint wilderness projects. The volunteer service agreement and job hazard analysis that our volunteers sign at the beginning of each year represent individual agreements between each volunteer and the U.S. Forest Service. On this slide, you can see we also partner with many other great organizations to help us achieve our mission. I won't go into this list in detail because you're going to hear about some of these partners in our program section. So let's take a look now at the 4 main IPWA programs that provide the framework for what we do. Our 4 programs include Wilderness Restoration, Wilderness Education, Wilderness Advocacy, and Wilderness Patrols. You can see that within each program there are several activities, and there is crossover between some programs. For example, the Patrol programs has an element of education in it as well. As the Forest Service and IPWA change and grow, our programs change and grow with us. In the note below, you can see that several of our activities are on hold this year as we adapt them to work with recent operational changes in IPWA and the Boulder Ranger District. In our Wilderness Restoration Program, our volunteers assist the Forest Service and other partners, such as the Rocky Mountain Conservancy, in completing trail work, which includes drainage improvements, trail realignments, and repairing infrastructure such as bridges and walkways. Volunteers also work to remove downed trees that are blocking the trails and creating a safety hazard for visitors. Here you can see a before and after shot of a segment of trail repaired by IPWA volunteers. Every year, IPWA, in coordination with the Boulder Ranger District, plans 3 to 5 trail maintenance projects. All volunteers are welcome and encouraged to participate. Be sure to check out our IPWA newsletter or our IPWA website for details and dates.
Now let's move into our Wilderness Education Program. Each year, for over 20 years, IPWA has awarded research grant funding to graduate students doing research within high-altitude ecosystems. On this slide, you can see some of these past recipients. The grant we award was named for David Padden and Joyce Gellhorn, who are both researchers, teachers, and great supporters of the wilderness. One of the best parts of this program is hearing from our grant recipients about their important research and findings in our end-of-year IPWA Summer Picnic.
Another activity in our education program is our Wilderness in Nature Teach the Teachers program. In this activity, IPWA has partnered with the University of Northern Colorado Center for Urban Education to provide teaching students lessons on the importance of environmental and wilderness conservation, who can in turn pass this knowledge on to a younger generation, helping to preserve our wilderness in the long term. Students meet with volunteers and state and federal agency staff such as biologists, geologists, and naturalists. Here they learn about the ecological life zones in the area, plant and animal adaptations, seed dispersal, and geological concepts. Students also learn about what public lands are and why it's important for us to protect them. Our third program is Wilderness Advocacy. In this program, IPWA shares the work we do with the public and our members in a variety of ways, including our website, social media, and our IPWA newsletter. As a new volunteer, you will be receiving the monthly newsletter, but please join our Instagram and Facebook pages to receive and share other news and updates.
Not only do we connect with the public online, our outreach committee coordinates with other organizations to plan advocacy activities and participate in table events. While we promote IPWA and our mission, we also educate people about best practices in the wilderness. We also have Trailhead Host Days where IPWA volunteers stay at the trailhead to be available to all visitors. We are always looking for volunteers to help us with these activities. If you are interested, please reach out to our hikers email address and watch for announcements in our monthly newsletter.
Coalition support is another type of advocacy that our organization performs. Our members engage with local efforts that potentially affect the Indian Peaks and James Peak wilderness areas. In 2020, the Boulder Ranger District, IPWA, Bryan Mountain Ski Patrol, and the Boulder Mountain Bike Alliance teamed together to develop new signage for winter trail users in the popular Brainerd Lake Recreation Area. The signage was developed to promote good trail etiquette, to ensure trails remain usable for all types of users, and to minimize the risk of user conflicts. Our fourth and most popular program is Wilderness Patrols. Summer patrol season starts in early June and completes at the end of September. During this time, IPWA volunteers are in the wilderness, capturing trail conditions, visitation levels, removing illegal fire rings and trash, and providing information to thousands of visitors. Data gathered by our volunteers is also used by the Forest Service when planning fieldwork. In addition, trail condition information is also made available to the general public through our IPWA website. Upcoming Forest Service and IPWA training We'll provide further details regarding wilderness rules and regulations, leave no trace principles, and suggested techniques for communicating with the public.
IPWA also conducts winter patrols in our wilderness areas. Patrols begin after hunting season and continue until early June. Because patrolling in winter conditions is more challenging, wilderness first aid and CPR training are required, along with additional IPWA classroom and field training. New volunteers who are interested in winter patrols must first successfully complete their 4 patrol requirement before they are eligible to apply.
Now let's take a quick look at the wilderness areas you will be patrolling. The Indian Peaks Wilderness was established in 1978 and is the larger and higher of our 2 wilderness areas. It crosses the Continental Divide from north to south, has 130 miles of trail, and includes 7 peaks over 13,000 feet. Backcountry permits are required for camping in designated camp areas within the Indian Peaks Wilderness. The James Peak Wilderness was established in 2002 with the majority of the area on the east side of the Continental Divide. While not as large as the Indian Peaks, it is extremely popular. One reason is the many pristine alpine lakes stocked with trout, which attract anglers. It is also popular with backpackers because camping permits are currently not required. New volunteers will receive a comprehensive map which covers both wilderness areas and includes details such as trail markings and mileages, elevations, boundary lines, and backcountry zones.
So now we have reviewed our IPWA programs and activities that we do in support of the Forest Service. We are proud to say that annually IPWA Volunteer Services provide over 4,200 volunteer hours that result in over $100,000 worth of value to the United States Forest Service. Before we wrap up the overview, we want to mention our annual photo contest, which is only open to IPWA volunteers and members. Selected photos like this one are used in IPWA promotional materials and are made into note cards that we give to select donors as a thank you for their support. Look for the contest announcements in our monthly newsletter, and remember to pull your cameras out. This concludes the IPWA Overview portion of our training. Before we go, Kelly and I wanted to mention some great resources for new volunteers and a reminder for returning volunteers. There's a lot of information in your handbook that we provide you at Training Day. We encourage you to download the current handbook from the resources page of the IPWA website and practice referencing the document throughout this training. For new volunteers, your mentor is a great resource who you will be connected with before Training Day. And remember to study the map we will provide you in your welcome packet. For everyone, connect with other volunteers on our Volunteer Connections Forum, a volunteer-only discussion platform for finding hiking partners, asking questions, and sharing stories. And finally, our IPWA email address is available to answer any questions you may have. Please don't hesitate to contact us at hikers@indianpeakswilderness.org. We hope you enjoy the rest of your training and have a great summer patrolling season.